What's going on, guys? Hope you're all staying healthy and having a great day. In this video, I want to break apart this RX 580 rig again and remove the 1600 watt PSU. So as you guys know, I wanted to do this from the beginning on the first breakdown. I'll drop a link to the video above. You guys know that I wanted to remove this PSU altogether because I had that one in tandem with another ATX PSU, but I just didn't want that anymore. So I wanted to do everything off of server PSUs on one entire rig, and then I want to transition all of the other ones on this monster build that I'm going to be doing. So let's dive into this. We're going to start ripping this apart right now. As you can see, I brought the C14 cable to go from the PDU to the actual server PSU, and then I have all the proper cables for the breakout board. I have some 6-pin male to 6-pin male wires to go from the breakout board to the proper location, and I also have some extensions to make those a little longer in case the length is a little greater than I expected on this. So let's go over here. We're going to shut this down. Also shut that down. Alright, she is off. Perfect. Let's start breaking it apart. Now I just want to unplug everything so there's no more power going to it, so I can work on it safely. We will remove the Ethernet cable just because. My plan is, when I continue this monster build, I want to take this right here, this motherboard mount or whatever, the aluminum tracks that these mining frames over here came with. I'm going to screw them on the back wall, and hopefully that will work to hold all the motherboards, and then all the cables can just go right to the back wall that way. Let me know below, do you guys think that's what I should do to mount the motherboards? I really wasn't sure. I don't think I want to put them on the actual rack, just because I don't want the wires coming from the GPUs all the way down to this low of a shelf. I might end up adding or raising this shelf and adding another one in between, but I haven't figured out what I want to do yet. So let me know what you guys think. Should I remove all of the motherboard brackets on all these mining frames and put them on the back walls behind each rig location? As I said, I'm not fully sure what I want to do. So either way, I'm just going to rip apart all of the cords going from this PSU to this actual setup right here. So let's get to it. All right, so we're gonna have to unplug the CPU. The Molex, actually, what I'm gonna do is I just unplugged it from the PSU itself, because I don't know if you could see, but this Molex right here is a 6-pin that can go right into the breakout board. So I'm just gonna use that. I'll just leave that off to the side for now. That way I don't have to touch any of these Molex connections on the actual motherboard. I shouldn't have to touch any of the USBs either, which is kind of nice. I know it's kind of hard to see, but let's take off this 24-pin motherboard cable, because that doesn't need to be there anymore, because we're going to use the Game Changer breakout board, and that comes with a 24-pin. Alright, let me disconnect all of the risers that are feeding from this PSU, and I'll be back in a second. Alright, she's gone. Everything is just kind of dangling. We don't have any connectors in these risers anymore. The cards themselves are actually powered from this breakout board already, so that's cool. These PCIe risers do have splitters on them, so I will just connect 6 pins to those just for the time being. I don't have splitters for the top, but I will we'll just run individual cables to those. As you can see, the PSU is right there all set. This is the server PSU that we're gonna throw on right here. First things first, we need to plug in the 24-pin to the Game Changer breakout board. This is the cord it comes with. It has one end will go to the CPU, the other end will go to the motherboard, and then this one directly comes from the Game Changer board. 24-pin, and it also has the extra wire spliced into it going to the CPU. Okay, CPU is plugged in, the 24 pins also plugged in. Like I said, this Molex, I'm actually going to just run it up through here and plug it into this breakout board. So that's feeding the board now. And now we need 1, 2, 3 cables for these risers, and then I need 6 for the top 6 because I don't have splitters on them. So let me get those all plugged in, wired up, and then we'll turn this back on and see how this game changer board works. Okay, so you guys can see I plugged in all the 6-pin male by male directly to this breakout board. Just so you know, there's no rhyme or reason. I just try to disperse between each half of the board, just I don't know, for even distribution, I guess. That's kind of the way I was thinking. And then, like I said, 24-pin, you guys have seen that already plugged into the board along with the CPU cord coming from the 24-pin. I guess now all we need to do is plug this in, plug in that server PSU also, and get the Ethernet cable plugged into this. Plug this back in. As you can see, we got power to the breakout board now. So now, as I just said in my PSU video, explaining the difference between server PSUs and the P2 Platinum PSU I have over there, the ATX style, you want to power the server power supply on whichever one is not powering the motherboard first. Alright, so I just pushed the button to turn this on. Now we're going to go down here, and I'm going to push the button to turn this one on. Why is that not on? Alright guys, so I figured out, or I didn't figure out, Matt Electron Engineering. I'll drop a link to his channel in the description. So the reason this PSU wouldn't come on, right? You see those two Molex connections that I have down there on the H110 Pro motherboard? You see how they're both 6 pins? These are both Molex cables, okay? That one's a 6-pin by Molex, just a different brand. And the one that's plugged into the motherboard is the one that comes with the EVGA P2 power supplies. This right here, if you look at the pins on the inside, they are different. They're wired differently for whatever reason. So, totally sucks, but it doesn't work. So I think I found a solution. This wire that came with the Game Changer breakout board, it's a Molex and a SATA by a Molex. I am going to take the Molex and plug it into one spot on the motherboard, and I'm going to take the SATA, the other side, and I'm going to steal, thank God for crappy risers, over here on these mining frames. The guy left all of these SATA by Molex connectors on the frames when I purchased them from him. I don't recommend using these at all, but you know what? They're gonna come in pretty handy right now. As you can see, the colors are the colors on the wires are exactly the same. And if you look at the SATA side, same thing on the SATA side as well. It's kind of neat. So I think this will work. I'm just gonna clean off the ends on this thing, and I'm gonna give it a shot. We'll turn this back on in a second. I'm gonna plug the SATA one in right over here, because the adapter actually made this cord a lot longer, so it'll actually reach over to there. And now I gotta unplug this one, and I'm going to plug in this Molex in the first Molex slot on the H110. Alright, so now let's see if this works. You want to turn on the secondary PSU first, as I've already stated. Okay. Now that PSU's on, I'm going to come down to this one. I'm going to turn the Game Changer one on. Alright, all good so far. Now, we're going to come around here, and let's turn on the motherboard, and hopefully everything fires up smooth. Yes. So now, oh look at that, the Game Changer board has 3 lights on it now. I don't know if you guys can see that, it's kind of bright, but it's an orange, a green, and a blue. So that is the absolute disaster of wires we got going on. But I don't care, everything's spinning. There's no smoke. Yes, this is what halfway to awesome looks like. Now, I need to figure out if this thing is actually working in Hive. I can't even explain how excited I am, because I was literally about to cut the end of that SATA cable off and wire it myself to another Molex because I didn't have a splitter. I am very thankful I didn't just do that. And I actually took a second and looked over at the old stuff that I had kicking around under the desk. All of these just ramped up. Let's open my phone and we're gonna see if it shows up in HIVEOS. That is fantastic. Every one of them are registering back in HIVEOS. That's my RX 580 rig. Hell yeah, I am so stoked. Awesome. So we have accomplished what we were trying to do. Like I said, we were trying to remove this 1600 watt P2 PSU. Now I'm gonna get this back to the studio. What I wanna do here is I'm actually gonna take this server PSU back with me, a breakout board, some wires, and I wanna do a comparison of the two. Somebody from my previous video asked me if there was actually a difference in the efficiency. Both of these units are platinum. This one's 1600, that one's 1200. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a test on this one running with just a dummy plug in the motherboard. So it's only gonna power a GPU, and I'm only gonna power one GPU from this as well. And I wanna see what the difference is. Let me know if you guys are interested in that. I think it'll be a pretty good video. But guys, I'm super happy that we were able to remove that ATX PSU. Please don't judge me on the cable management because this is just absolutely awful. But like I said, this isn't staying. I just wanted to test out this breakout board for my first time because to be honest, my first experience wasn't too great. I ended up frying 2 of those boards because I wasn't smart enough to check out the specs before I decided to hook it up. So I'm glad to know that I can actually get one of those to work. All right guys, so I'm happy to have at least accomplished something today. That kind of stumped me a little bit, but like I said, thankfully when I bought these, they all had those Molex by SATA splitters on them, or transition wires on them, so that kind of helped me huge in this application. If you guys appreciate this content, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Also, we do have our free Discord group called Misfit Mining, where we'd love to have you guys, especially if you're new. It's a great place to start out and learn something. Next time you guys see me here, just so you know, I'm going to be continuing this Monster Rack build, and also I do want to be consolidating a couple of these rigs because I have, so that rig up there, right, I have 7 cards on it. It is a 1660 Ventus OC rig, and then we have down bottom is a 6-card rig. This is a 5600 and a 5700 rig, so I have 5 5600s and 1 5700 on this rig. When I purchased these cards, I bought 6 5600. One came broken, so the fans didn't even turn on, so I had to RMA it immediately. The company ended up just sending me my money back, so I had to order one more card, and I couldn't get a 5600, so I got a 5700. That's why this is kind of a mixed rig, but I am going to take all of those cards and I am going to throw them all with this one, because this ASRock H110 Pro BTC motherboard can hold 13 GPUs, as you guys know, so why not just consolidate them and get them into one rig on HIVEOS. So we're gonna do that, and in the midst of that, we are gonna hang the GPUs somehow. I just haven't really decided how. But I appreciate you all for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you guys next time.